With enemies like these, who needs friends? Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 Deadpool villains. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we'll be taking a look at the best villains that the regenerating degenerate has ever locked swords, guns, and quips with. Because you don't get to be Deadpool without making an enemy or two, or three, or four. Number 10. Zombie US Presidents. When a rogue ex-SHIELD agent becomes a necromancer and brings every US president from Washington to Reagan back to life, only to have them set out to destroy the country, who do you bring in to clean up the mess but Deadpool? For starters, you need someone willing to go in guns blazing against former leaders of the free world, and who better than an insane, gun-toting Canadian with a twisted sense of humor. These undead heads of state may not be the most memorable of foes to come up against the Merc with a mouth, but they're still a threat that only Deadpool could find himself fighting. Number 9. Marcus the Gladiator, Centaur, Symbiote, Werewolf, Warrior. And speaking of foes that could only show up in a Deadpool comic, let's talk about this fella. A centaur from ancient Greece infected with lycanthropy, as well as bonded to a symbiote alien, this singular foe was recruited by none other than Dracula, who saw him as the perfect weapon. And this was before Marcus also got outfitted with cybernetic legs. Guess who cut off his real legs? Really, it's not hard to understand Dracula's logic in choosing Marcus to serve him. Besides having the occasional diabetic episode, Marcus is a force to be reckoned with, even for a seasoned merc like Deadpool. Number 8. Bullseye. A deadly assassin with perfect aim, this lethal foe is mostly a Daredevil villain, having famously killed Daredevil's love interest Elektra. But whenever he's crossed paths with Deadpool, the results have always been mayhem and bloodshed to spare. In one story, during a period when the arch villain was posing as Hawkeye, the two clashed in a slaughterhouse. Appropriately enough. With an arrow in his noggin making sustained thought even harder than usual, Deadpool eventually won the day with a suit made out of meat, a monster truck, and a chainsaw. Let's be honest, what else do you need to win a fight? Number 7. Madcap. You have to be pretty crazy to out-crazy Deadpool, and this anarchist supervillain is pretty crazy indeed. After surviving a horrible accident with a healing factor and the ability to drive anyone insane, this notorious villain became convinced that life has no purpose and turned to a life of spreading anarchy and chaos. After a chance encounter with Deadpool, he even became one of the voices in Deadpool's head before regaining a body of his own. Naturally, spending time in Deadpool's headspace didn't do much to help his already shattered sanity, and he's been even crazier ever since. Number 6. Id, the Selfish Moon. What hired killer doesn't dream of killing a whole planet? A lot of them, probably. But you can bet Deadpool was elated to cross this one off of his assassin's bucket list. Born in the shadow of Ego, the living planet, this unhinged planetoid was even less unhinged than his big brother, and prowled the galaxy leaving a trail of destroyed planets in his wake. After destroying the planet Angulia, the survivors eventually hired Deadpool to put the galactic menace down. While this might be too big a job to handle, Deadpool's never met something he couldn't kill, and after tricking the Mad Moon into eating a fission bomb, Deadpool went down in mercenary history. Number 5. Evil Deadpool. You could say that Deadpool is his own worst enemy, but this is ridiculous. After a crazed Deadpool fan spent years collecting as many of Deadpool's severed limbs and body parts as possible, the resulting pile of Deadpool bits fused together into a new being, one with a desire to ruin the Merc with a mouth's life. While the real Deadpool is no hero, he still operates according to a strict code of conduct. But his patchwork doppelganger has no such restrictions, and revels in doing everything the real Deadpool never would. And if the prospect of an even more murderous and unhinged Deadpool scares you, join the club. Number 4. Hit Monkey. There are very few individuals that Deadpool truly fears, but this murderous monkey is one of them. Once a normal monkey whose tribe took in an injured assassin, the monkey, who would one day become a feared killer himself, was the only survivor when his tribe and the unnamed assassin were slaughtered. Picking up the dead killer's guns, the once peaceful animal swore vengeance and became a killer of killers, targeting assassins and hired guns. During one team-up with Spider-Man, Deadpool almost met his end at the gunslinging Simian's hand, but thankfully everyone walked away with only minor gunshot wounds and explosion-related injuries. Number 3. Taskmaster.
Deadpool is here? What? Boogity boo!
Deadpool and this infamous mercenary have crossed swords as often as they've teamed up. After all, the life of a merc often means a life of shifting allegiances. While he may not be the most dangerous opponent that Wade has come across, he's still no slouch. Born with photographic reflexes that allow him to perfectly replicate any physical feat, as long as it isn't superhuman in nature, this skull-faced foe is a versatile and dangerous opponent. Of course, it's hard to copy the moves of an unpredictable foe like Deadpool, something that Tasky learned when he squared off against Deadpool and Spider-Man.
Open up wide, Tasky! No! You know, sometimes you are just no fun!
Number 2. Ajax.
Looking good, Francis. Well rested. Like you've been pitching, not catching.
While he'd prefer to go by his more badass-sounding nickname, this classic Deadpool foe will forever be known as Francis. While in the movie, he's the man responsible for Deadpool's creation. The comics version is more of an enforcer for the scientist Dr. Killbrew. That minor wrinkle aside, Francis remains largely the same from page to screen. In both versions, he has the same pain immunity and enhanced reflexes, and the same antagonistic relationship with the future Merc with a mouth, including Wade's mockery of his real name. Watching Deadpool get under the skin of his opponents is always fun, and his fights with this baddie are no exception.
Hey, you grow back body parts now, Wade. When I'm finished, parts will have to grow back you.
Good one. Yep, that was a good one. Let's dance.
Number 1. T-Ray. When it comes to Deadpool, it's hard to know where his madness begins and where the truth ends, and this foe takes that to extremes. This foe claims that he's the real Wade Wilson, whose identity was stolen by the man that would later become Deadpool. According to his account, Deadpool left him for dead after killing his wife and stealing his name. Swearing revenge on the man who ruined his life, he went to Japan and became a powerful assassin and sorcerer. For all we know, his account of events could be entirely true, making him an interesting and perhaps even sympathetic nemesis for everyone's favorite mouthy mercenary.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.